Today we're going to be demonstrating the replacement of the problematic headlamp connector on a RAM ProMaster van. In order to actually replace this connector though, we first have to gain access to the headlamp assembly for removal, as it's going to be too tight of a space to actually replace this part without removal of the headlamp assembly. We're going to start things off by removing the front trim piece below the headlamp. This will be removed by taking out one Phillips screw on the left-hand side of it. And then also there's going to be a trim piece that has to be pulled away near the body of the vehicle. Once we've removed this trim piece, now we go to the top and we're going to take that upper trim piece off. We can now remove the 10mm bolts that hold the headlamp assembly on, and we've got a little bit of room to gain access to the main harness connector. This harness connector is just a push clip, and we're going to release this main harness, and then the headlamp assembly will be removed from the vehicle. The reason that we need to remove the headlamp assembly from the vehicle is simply for access, so that we can actually get to this part and safely remove the connector from here, because we actually have to use a removal tool such as this pick that we have in order to release the tabs on the connector, and this is going to be too hard to do in the vehicle. Let's take a closer look at the connector on this headlamp assembly now and see where the failure item is on the connector. If we look at this tab here, we can see that the tab is actually broken on this old original connector. The replacement connector we'll be installing has the tab in place and is ready to snap in once we have switched the wiring and terminals. To remove the wiring from this connector, we have to remove this spring clip. We will use our tool and release the spring clip. With the clip removed, now we are going to release the terminals from the connector. In order to do this, we will go through the face of the connector again, place the pick inside of here, and we are going to pry up against the terminals until they release from the connector. We also want to be sure that we remember what wire goes in what location, so we may want to do one wire at a time and transfer it to the new assembly. Here we have transferred one of the wire pigtails to the connector. We're going to do the exact same thing with the other wire now. With both wires now firmly in place and seated into the connector, we're going to install our spring clip back into the new connector. And with that in place, we have now just installed a brand new connector. The spring clip is in and the wiring is firmly seated, and we are ready to install the new light bulb and continue with the process of putting the headlamp assembly back on the vehicle. So now that you've seen the process of depinning that connector and removing everything from the vehicle to gain access to this connector as well, hopefully you've got a better understanding of how to replace the headlamp connector on a RAM ProMaster van.